me put it on you with your finance. I got paper, I can work you on my finances. You should let me put it on you with your finance. You should let me spend it on you with your finance.
What's up, Gator Gang? It's your girl Lisa, aka Gator Love, back with another video. And today's video is going to be a little more serious. It's going to be a little sad for some people, but I feel like it's something that should be talked about. I've been getting a lot of DMs about this situation, and I just wanted to pretty much give you guys like my intake. But before we get into this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to bring your friends along, and yeah. Okay, so today on Instagram I asked you guys if you guys wanted me to talk about how I deal with my depression, because I do get a lot of DMs where some of you are having a hard time and you maybe don't know if you are depressed or if you're just sad or you're going through something and you just need somebody to talk to. And just like I said before, you know, I don't really look through my DMs a lot. So when I see these messages, I try to respond to most of them that I can. I try to respond to most of them, but you know, I am really busy sometimes, so I don't always look through my DMs like that. But I just, sorry guys, but I just want you guys to know that, you know, you're not alone with this. But first, I guess I could just start with mine. And you know, how I found out and when did I first start seeing it, what signs and all that. So I feel like, you know, I always had a little trouble with my moods, I guess. So when I was younger, I was mostly happy. Like, I was really happy when I was a kid. I was in dance, you know, I was doing a lot. I feel like a lot of the reason of why I started noticing that I was depressed was my depression really started when I was 10. I don't really talk about this. I don't really like to, but I know that me talking about it and me expressing myself and how I know me talking about it with you guys and me doing this video is gonna help a lot. So that's why I wanted to do this. But okay, it's really like, I feel like the hardest thing about depression is explaining it. Like, anybody that has bipolar depression would know that. Or sometimes, you know, you don't know, but that is probably really the hardest thing, is just explaining it, because, you know, a lot of people don't know how you really feel, or they don't know how it feels to have it. Okay. So I noticed my depression first about when I was 10 to 11, because my grandmother had passed away, and I was really close to her. I was really close to her. Like, I spent every day with her. She was my best friend. She was the one that you know, made me happy a lot. And when she passed, it was like, you know, we knew what was going on. We knew what was going on. It wasn't really a surprise. I would say it was more just, why now at the time. And so, you know, when you lose somebody that you cared about and that you felt like that was like the one person you had that you could just tell anything to without being judged, without getting in trouble, you got to, you know, do whatever with this one person. Like, my family knows that I was probably like, I always say that I was her favorite. Because, and she would even say it too, because I was the one that spent, you know, the most time with her out of, you know, not out of her kids, but out of just like all my cousins and, you know, my siblings and stuff. It was like, you know, when I was little, I would go there after school every day. I would spend time with her on the weekends, you know, and then she lived with us. And the hardest night was probably not when she went to the hospital, but when it was done. And I remember going into my mom's room, and I remember I looked in the crib. Well, it was kind of a crib, because my little brother was like 1. He was about to be 1 when she had with us. And I looked in his bed and I saw he was asleep, and I heard sniffling, and I knew it was my mom, so I laid with her. And I just remember feeling a hand, like something really soft, you know, just touch my leg, just to like let me know, like, you know, it's okay, be here, you have to be strong for her. And I honestly feel like, you know, I know that her passing, I know that I shouldn't be sad about it, and that's probably like one of those things that come with depression, is that, you know, a lot of times when you might not notice at first that you are depressed, you might just think, you know, you're just sad because, you know, something like that happened. And so that's pretty much what I was thinking, you know, that I was just sad because, you know, so I lost, you know, my best friend. So not only was it the loss of my grandmother, but it was also at that time is when I started gaining weight. So, you know, as a little girl, you know, just 10, and, you know, I already, like, you know, kind of was, because, you know, I was bullied a lot when I was younger, like younger than 10. I was bullied a lot. I went to a private school, and you know, there wasn't a lot of black kids. It was probably just me, my sister, and probably one more other black family. And that was really hard too, you know. Going there, it was always like, you know, you're the one that no one really wants to talk to because you look different. And that was really hard, and that's why I was so close to my grandmother, because, you know, the girls there, they were really mean. They were. And, you know, also, that was like, it was just kid stuff, you know. But, you know, I'm sure, like, them not knowing, them thinking that, you know, it's just funny to them. But it was really hard for me to go through that. Like, in my class, it was more like, you know, in the beginning, they all stayed just them, and then kind of just, like, left me to the side. And, you know, I would try to be nice to them. I was trying to make friends, but it was just always hard. So, like, I remember first grade, these group of girls made a, you know, this group. It was just like, I hate Alyssa. And every time I walked by, they would say that, like, we hate Alyssa, we hate Alyssa. You know, like, now that I'm older, I'm like, you know, that's little kid stuff. But, you know, a first grader, that's not something that, you know, they want to really go through by themselves. And, you know, that's really hard for them to just think, like, you know, you don't really know me that much. You don't even ask, you don't get the chance to even want to be my friend, to get to know me. You just automatically, I hate her, and you don't even know why. And so I remember the only person, like, I had at this school was my sister, and she stuck up for me a lot there. And then you know, I would go home and I would tell my grandma about it, and she would just hold me and tell me that I remember she would just hold me and tell me, you know, don't care about what they say. You don't need them. You have your family. And so when my grandma had passed, it was like, who's gonna, you know, who am I gonna talk to now, like, about this? It's not even that, like, I couldn't talk to my mom about it, because I could. It was more like, just, I don't want my mom to feel bad, or I don't want her to be mad at them, you know. I don't want her to stress over it. And then, you know, she was working a lot, and my mom always did the best to make sure we were okay, and make sure that we were hidden from a lot. And so that was but so then when my grandma had passed, it was, I don't know, I just, like, I remember I would eat more, and I would talk to people less. That's pretty much when I stopped telling my mom when she would ask me what's wrong, I would stop telling her and I would just say nothing. I started talking to the counselor, and I started talking to the counselor after my grandma had passed. And I feel like, you know, that's when my mom kind of realized that I was depressed. And that's kind of like when I started realizing it, but I didn't even realize that I was depressed. I just, you know, realized that I was sad a lot and that I was mad a lot. And I would just talk to, you know, the counselor. I really wish I remembered her name, but I don't. But I would talk to her a lot about, you know, everything I was going through at home or with school. At this time, I did make friends. I honestly wouldn't even call them friends, because now that I think about it, they're more like, they were my friend when they wanted to be. A lot of the times I was still alone, except for with me being with my sister and her friends. So after my grandma had died, a few years later, I had lost my cousin. Trash can, guys. But yeah, a few years later, I had lost my cousin. And the way she went was very hard for all of us, because she was going through something and we didn't know about it. That was really hard. It was really hard because none of us knew why. We all, like, I feel like it was really, like, I feel like that was really hard for Kai, her sister, my sister, and myself, because it was always us five, because we're the closest and we're the girls. So, you know, it was always my sister, Kai's sister, and her, because they were the older ones, and then we would, like, you know, tag along. And so losing her kind of just, like, you know, put another layer over it. That was the first time that someone told me about depression, like, that I was, mostly. And she had told me that, and she told me about it. She told me ways, you know, to help and ways to not be so sad and everything. And, you know, I'm still a kid. I was in 6th grade, I feel like, and I'm still a kid, so it's still hard. And even though, you know, someone's telling you this and everything, you're still not really, you're still gonna do the same things. You're still gonna push your feelings back, and you're still not gonna want to really, like, say how you're feeling and everything, because everyone else is so sad around you. You feel like you need to be stronger for everyone else. And that's how I felt. And then, you know, after a while, it was that everything still hurt, but I was okay. And then I had started middle school because that school had closed, and I went to public school. And it was okay, you know, like, it was still little stuff, but it wasn't a lot. So I was thinking, I'm not depressed. I'm fine. Like, I'm good now. And then I went to high school, and it was fine. I was always still, you know, I don't like to talk about my feelings. And I was always like that. After my grandma had passed, I was always like that. I didn't want to talk about my feelings. I was the type that, why talk about it? Just don't talk about it and just put it back and you'll be fine. Act like you're cool, smile. Even if you're sad, put a smile on your face and don't show people that, you know. And that's one thing that I probably regret the most, is that I didn't tell people how I was feeling. If you are going through depression and if you're going through depression, please let people know how you're feeling. Do not do it on your own, because that just makes it worse, honestly. Because you're not alone. You might feel like you are, but you're not. There are people that love you, and even if you can't talk to them, there's websites and there's numbers that you can call. And I wish, like, you know, when you're in middle school, you're in high school, they do like teach you about depression, and they do teach you about the numbers you can call and all of that. But I just wasn't one of those people, you know. I just wasn't. And I just remember, like, when I got to high school, I was, you know, of course you're the biggest you've been, but I was the biggest I've been. Like, I noticed that I started really gaining weight in high school, and you know, that didn't help with the depression. It was hard because I, you know, wasn't comfortable with myself anymore. It was more like, you know, everyone else thought, because since I'm smiling and since I seemed okay and I seemed happy that I was, but it was more like, I'm gonna smile and I'm gonna trick my mind into thinking that I'm okay, but I'm not. And I'm not gonna tell people how I'm feeling unless I have one of my big outbursts. And I like fell asleep. So in high school, my depression was on and off. It wasn't as bad as it was when I was, like, you know, a little younger than that, but it was still there. And I want to say, yeah, so my senior year of high school, my family went through so much because my father was on drugs at the time. Well, my sister and I have found out that he was on drugs. That's when we found out. I mean, like, you know, I knew he smoked weed, but I never knew that it was anything other than that. And at this point was to where they took over him and he wasn't himself anymore. And we had to leave because it wasn't safe for us. And when we left, it wasn't a I hate you. It was that. It was just that I was kind of just done. Yeah, I was kind of just done again. I was just like, what's the point? But I knew that, like, if I were to do something like that, that it would hurt my mom even more than her having to leave. And I knew that, you know, I couldn't put my sister, my little brother through that, or my cousins, because, you know, that's one thing that, you know, I've always thought about, is like, every time I was going to take my life, I always thought about, like, you know, this isn't just affecting me, because when it happened to my cousin, I noticed that it didn't just affect her, it affected all of us, and it affected her parents the most. And I knew I couldn't put my mom through that, and I couldn't put my sister or my little brother through that, or Kai or her parents through that. And I knew that my dad, I couldn't put him through that, because I knew that this was something that he could work through. I knew that. And I knew that this wasn't him. And, you know, my mom had to really, like, explain that to us, that this isn't him that's doing this, this is the drugs. And that was really hard too. So it was more like, you know, from being 10 to getting to 19 or 18 and having all that happen, and me still pushing stuff back and not talking to people about how I really feel and what I'm really going through, to where when we left, my mom, my sister, and my brother, they left, and I decided that I needed to stay with my cousin Kai so I could finish school, because, you know, I'm a senior, like, and it's almost the end of the year. I can't just leave or not walk here with them, with my friends and stuff, because I went to my high school for all 4 years. So it's like, you know, this is something that I really wanted to do, and I don't want to just leave. And that was really hard, because at the same time that was going on was the same time that I was going through the stuff with my ex. And it was just a lot. And then you know, it did get a little better. It did. At the time, my father was homeless, and he was homeless around here. Do have depression is, do not stay in the house. Do not, if you feel like something is worsening your depression, please evaluate that. You know, I was working at this job, and I noticed that made me depressed even more. So I had to talk with my mom, and I told her that, you know, I feel so depressed here. I don't want to work here anymore. I'm so sad. And I noticed that I go home and I don't make a drink. That was noticing that I was 19, 18. And, you know, when you're younger, you are not even younger. When you're in high school and you go to parties, of course, you know, I understand. I'm young, so I know, you know, you're gonna drink sometimes. But I noticed it to where I would come home and I will make a drink every night. And I always wanted to throw parties or kickbacks. And every time somebody would come over, I would be like, hey, you want a drink? Like, you want me to make you a drink, you know? Or to where I would be like, oh, I'm about to go to the store and get a bottle, you know? And it was like, I wasn't myself anymore. I wasn't, and I noticed that. I was not myself. I lost a couple of friends along the way, and it took me a while to notice that me drinking isn't helping. Like that was one that I noticed that I needed to, stop. I needed to stop, and I did for a while. I didn't stop completely. It was more like every time I would only drink when we would have like events. This time I was living with just my sister and my little brother because my mom had moved. This is when she first moved to the Palm Springs area, and we had told her that, Brandon, my little brother, really likes his school, and if it's possible, any way that, we could stay and we could take care of him during school, and then, she'd come on the weekends. It was perfect, and it was cool. And I feel like that's why it was so easy for me to drink so much, because she wasn't there. Not even that she wasn't there as in, like, when I say she wasn't there, I mean she wasn't there like physically, because I still talk to her every day. We still talk to my mom every single day. There wasn't a day that didn't go by, because I noticed that she was very lonely at the time, and she was very lonely, and that was the same time that I was very lonely, and it wasn't even that I was lonely as in I didn't have nobody around me. It was that I just felt alone, and I didn't understand why, because I wasn't alone. I was never alone. Or sometimes I'll be by myself, but not really, because I was always with Kai, and I was always with Chuko, or I was always with Aaliyah, or I was always with my sister, or I was always with my brother, or I was sleeping, like, because I was working at the time too. And so I didn't really notice that. And when we had moved from there, and we moved in with my mom to Palm Springs. And at this time, I was still going through stuff, but I knew it at the time. I was trying to find ways to where I could help my depression on my own. I would try to communicate more, but to where I had to tell my mom, I don't know why I'm sad. So when she would say, "What's wrong?" and I would say nothing, or to where I changed it from saying nothing to "I don't know," to I was just sad, and that's how it is when you're depressed. And a lot of people don't know that, or you don't know why, and it's hard to even know why, to be honest, because it's randomly, like, it's random to where you could be so happy in one moment, just so happy, and then the next moment, the littlest thing, one word could literally trigger you to where you're just sad and you're down and you don't want to talk to anybody. And that's one thing too, it's where you should talk to some people. So that pretty much wraps up this video. I'm so sorry that it's been all over the place. I'm sorry that I've cried in the last 2 videos that you guys have seen of me, and but this is a part of me. Sometimes I do get emotional, I do, and it's okay. It's okay to be emotional, you guys. It's fine. If you need to cry, just cry. That helps a lot, I'm telling you. Go in the bathroom, turn off the lights, cry with your friends. Have those nights to where you just cry, watch movies, or you listen to music. And if you feel like you need to cry, just cry, because it does help. And if you're going through something, please let people know. Please let people in your life know that you're going through something, and let them know that sometimes you're not gonna know why you're sad, but you are gonna be sad. And just let them know that, you know, they don't have to really keep asking you what's wrong. Just let them know that, you know, they could check up on you. And don't push people away for asking you what's wrong all the time. I did that, and that's where I messed up at. Because, you know, they don't get it. They don't. And you have to educate them on depression sometimes. You do have to educate people on depression, because a lot of people don't know that much about it, and you can't get mad at them for not knowing. Because, you know, if honestly, if you haven't been through depression, you don't really know how to deal with it. And it's sad to say, but it's true. And if you know somebody that's going through depression, just be there for them. That doesn't mean, you know, keep asking them what's wrong every 10 minutes. But, you know, just let them know that you're here. Like, just, you know, be like, hey, you good? Just wanted to check up on you, see how you're doing. You know, stuff like that. It helps. It helps a lot. It helps a lot. But that pretty much wraps up this video. Thank you guys for watching. And I hope you guys, I hope I helped. I do. I hope I helped a lot. I hope maybe if me telling you about my story, you guys would feel more comfortable telling people about your story, and knowing that it helps if you sometimes tell people the stuff that makes you sad and you cry about it. It's okay. It helps. It will make you realize that you're not the only one that goes through those stuff. And you're not the only one that you have. You're not alone. But please, if you need help, get help. Please. And listen, they're arguing. But yeah, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next. And thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you guys for all you guys' help, because honestly, you guys have helped with my depression also. You guys have really helped with it. Like, you guys don't understand. I would be having the worst mood swings, and one of you will just DM me or mention me in your story and say how I inspired you or how I make you guys feel happy, and that makes me like 10 times happier. And it just helps a lot, and I really appreciate you guys for that. And I can't wait to go through so much more with you guys. And I promise you, I will make sure I'm always being honest with you guys. That's one thing that I really want to do, is be honest with you guys. And I feel like I'm going to end up doing another Q&A soon. And maybe it'll be more of a, what do you guys want to know about me? And I can answer them. I feel like I'm going to do that very soon, so be ready for that. I have a really, really good prank idea for Kai. Be ready for that. I will probably be posting that tomorrow, because I'm probably gonna do it tonight. So I will be posting that definitely. And I just want you guys to know again that I love you guys, and you're not alone, and thank you guys for being here for me. And thank you to my mom, and thank you to Kai's mom, and thank you to all of my siblings, cousins included, and thank you to Kai and Chuko and Anthony, and thank you to my best friend, and thank you to my brother Bari. And yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video.
You should let me put it on you with your finance. You should let me spin it on you with your finance.
Like